are a nation surrounded by seafood. Our culture moves to maritime rhythms. But have we lost touch with where our food comes from? Do we think about the environment that sustains our culture, sustains our economy?
I like lean snapper, and I like it fried.
Snapper preferably fried.
Mutton snapper.
Red snapper, fried dry.
Most Bahamians like fried fish.
I like it steamed sometimes.
Strawberry grouper. I love it steamed.
My wife normally does sweet and sour.
My favorite dish is stew because I have memories of my mother. And stew fish was my favorite dish. She always made that for me.
Hogfish. Some nice curry hogfish with white rice. It's better than any pork chop.
I eat my fish raw. Just cut my fish. Once I catch it raw, I eat that raw. The only fish I eat fry is barracuda and shark.
My favorite fish is the Nassau grouper, and I like it fried.
To compare to what I see people used to get, grouper is okay. But at the same time, they ain't as thick as what they used to be, but they're still good.
But they better than what they were a couple of years ago.
Yeah, a lot of young groupers out there for real.
Are groupers making a comeback throughout the entire archipelago?
It's always a good sign when we are getting positive feedback from fishers and other people that are in the water all the time. So these are species that don't reproduce back on the reefs throughout the rest of the year, that are migrating long distances from their home reefs, but specific times of the year. It's a really limited window. Because it's predictable, it means they're really, really vulnerable to being overfished. Spawning aggregations are like underwater parties. Very good parties, very fun parties. They're there just to have fun and make sure that they're adding to the next generation. We need Nassau grouper. It has a really important function in terms of the marine environment. It's a predator that's also prey. Those are important for keeping the balance of food webs in check. So we need Nassau grouper. It's woven into the fabric of the culture and the economy. The Bahamas is blessed with a suite of habitats that are important to Nassau grouper: mangroves, seagrasses, reefs. I think people take it for granted because the Bahamas is in better condition than some other parts of the region. People have options still, and they still have their favorite options here to choose from. And some of those other places, they don't have those options anymore. So they're eating things that Bahamians wouldn't even think about eating, like wrasses. We don't want to get in that state. So we're concerned about changes to habitat and loss of habitat. We also have several spawning aggregation sites that have declined because of overfishing. and some have completely collapsed. So the conservation work that we do is really, really important. Some of the research that we've done, the average size at which most fish are making that spawning migration is bigger than our current minimum size limit. To help the fishery sustain itself long term, we should strongly consider increasing the minimum size limit. We're really trying to encourage people to support initiatives that help the environment, and in doing so, help us, help our well-being, help our future, help our resources, help businesses, help livelihoods. That's what we want. And we owe that to the fishers, we owe that to the Bahamian people.
Fishing is the second major money maker in the country, other than tourism.
Without having fishing in these areas, I wouldn't like to know how you place would have been, because fishing is bringing good money. Really?
And speaking as a private contractor, if their guys don't work, I don't have no job.
Ain't my job for you.
Even the local business now depend on the fishing.
What do fish mean to our country?
Industry, tradition, family, home, comfort. Comfort food, definitely comfort food.
This is how we live, this is how we make it, this is how we feed our family.
For a lot of people, it's their bread and butter.
Pays the bills, that's true. But it could be, the price could be better.
We have a whole lot of people who still depend on fisheries to take care of their homes, their families.
Fishing, you get people going out on the boats, either rent a boat, they own a boat, so there's fuel, push up to come back, they clean the fish, buy it, sell it.
It isn't divers friendly. It's more owners friendly, but it is what it is.
Made a good life for me. I built plenty houses. I built 6 houses and a restaurant off of this ocean.
I'm not an owner, I'm just a diver.
Our fishing industry for some years has carried the country.
It's the lifeblood of this island, the fishing industry. No other place in the Bahamas that is into fishing business and knows more about fishing than the people from this island. And I was fishing for 52 years, so I've seen a lot of changes in the fishing industry.
What are some of those changes?
Well, in my grandfather's days, lobsters on the island, they were used for bait for the live fish, like snapper and yellowtail and grunts. We would go around the islands with our spear and sling, and you didn't have to go very far. You could go out and get a couple of lobsters. That's what we did. They're not as prolific as they were then. You can't go out and get as many as you want. When the tourists started coming to the Bahamas, and lobsters were getting to be liked in the US. So then the industry developed, and that's how it got started. We started using lobster traps because there was a certain amount of boats in the industry, and once you went out for a trip, a 3-week trip, and fished all the reefs and the rocks, there was nobody else to get lobsters. So once we started putting out these condos, there's thousands of square miles of area where there's no reefs or no rocks, just sandy bottom and grassy bottoms. So once we started putting these condos out in those areas, they were a good spot for lobsters to gather, and they were kind of protected. And a lot of the smaller lobsters congregated around these condos, and they grew up and spread. So it provided a place for the lobsters to grow and to be protected from other predators in the sea. When I started fishing, there were still fishing boats on this island that didn't have refrigeration on the boats. Whatever they caught, they would have to put in the ice box. That's how they would do that every day until the ice was kind of melting, and then they would have to come into port. We have a closed season from the 1st of April to the end of July. That's their reproductive time. And that gives the lobsters a chance to grow, to spawn, to reproduce. And that's been happening ever since I can remember. In 2017, we had a bad hurricane that destroyed probably 75–80% of all the condos out on the fishing grounds. Some of the fishing boats never recovered from that. So they sold off their boats, and a lot of them are now going into fishing charters here on the island. For the past 3 or 4 years, it's been great. It's been some of the best fishing that I can remember.
When my dad was captain all those years back, every boat had a captain. He had everybody hired that worked for him. You came and you was hired as a diver. You got so much salary. Now, 99% of the boats in the creek are owned by the crew, and captain is just a figurehead. There was a brand new idea. Everybody went and owned a share, split the profits. You have to put out a lot for one of these boats, though, even if you're buying a share. And, you know, to start out and you owe that money, you want to get that paid off first. That evens up a lot of things, more opportunities for younger guys to, you know, not have to be in the business 20 years.
I started bagging up when I was young. I was 11. So this is my 11th August going out. And now I'm one of the shareholders. Yeah. Last year was a mess for sure. But the last 3 years has been, 4 years has been awesome.
Lobster fishing has brought so much prosperity to Spanish Wells and the whole country.
That's it. That's it for you.
But the industry is still vulnerable to the forces of nature.
2015 to 2019, it was hurricane after hurricane. It was a struggle. It wasn't, you know, that you came home and had a lot to splurge. We were making, for crawfishing, minimal money. Irma alone put, I think, 5 or 6 companies out of business. Lost all their traps. A lot of the guys didn't want to start over.
The thought of going out there, I'm spoiled now. I'm too used to being home. I miss my family. I don't have any interest in going back out. I fished, I don't know if I was 2 miles from Spanish Wells today. They pay to go out with the paid charter. Whatever they don't want, I usually give it away to people. I'm so happy for these guys now that the lobster seasons have been so good and they're doing so well. I can't be happier for them. The last 3 or 4 years has been outstanding.
This influx of crawfish comes, the fishing fleet's now down 6, 8, 10 boats. Dominican Republic took a big hit. After COVID, they stopped coming for a while. We didn't see them. Luckily, people got it rebuilt by the time it started to happen in, I guess, the year after Dorian. "20, 30 years ago, if you had a graduating class, 12 young guys in it, 10 of them were going to try to go away and dive right away. Now, you know, you might be getting 3 or 4 out of those 10 that want to go and dive.
my grandchildren, they all like the sea. They all like being on the water. And I know that even young as they are now, as 8 or 10, the boys and the girls, they go out with their dads, they do some diving. Who knows, they might not like it, or they might say, yeah, I like this, you know, and they might want to get into fishing.
Crawfishing is still the lifeblood, still the backbone of Spanish Wells. All other businesses do great when we do great. The tide ebbs and flows with us.
There's a lot of other things that depend on people making money out of fishing. You know, they spend their money, they build homes, they buy food, they go into business. So fishing is very important. Probably more important to this island than to any other island in the Bahamas. The people here are very industrious, very hardworking. So I think there's always going to be a fishing industry. I'm sure there'll be times when there won't be as many lobster, and we don't know why that is. I think the scientists play a part there. And I think the government listens to science. If the government keeps restrictions in place and protects the spawning season, I think there's going to be, you know, a fishing industry for many years to come.
Across the Bahamas, entire communities revolve around lobster season. How many people, how many families, how many businesses depend on it? How many condos, traps, and fishing boats sit across our banks?
I don't know if you're taking any.
Right here, Ari. Okay, sir. Check it. He disappointed now. You gotta keep going up there. Fight on y'all.
This year was one of the last years we had in a little while in terms of pay and crawfish, because we catch a lot of big crawfish this year. A lot of crawfish was in this year, and the price started off real good, so we were comfortable so far.
What else can sustain us? Can fishing beyond lobster alone support all of our people? And if so, how do we make sure we have these resources for all the future?
You got closed grouper season, right? You got closed crawfish season, right? What happened to come? They ain't why you nothing?
Choose them on this fresh conch salad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, conch salad is in demand. Fried conch is in demand. Conch fritters is in demand. You can store conch, but you can't store fresh conch for conch salad.
No.
Whatever fish we cherish, we must ask, do we love conch even more?
Boy, but next to conch, I think fish is on the close second.
This is an expensive dish. It's nothing easy to get. You can't just walk on the side of the water and pick up these no more like back in the day. Like in that damn time, you could walk probably right there and grab one handful of conch and go home and prepare it how you want. Now, see how far we had to go in for a bucket. Real job. From the time I started fishing up to now, as you can see, like we had slowing down like certain areas where we used to go. To count them and we ain't there no more. I don't know if we was just getting them too much over time or whatever, but they start to get scarce and scarcer as the years go by. This is what I used to do every day, Monday to Sunday, and we go on the water and we get conch. Every day you go over there, now you gotta make the right decision so you could make your day count. If it's the wrong decision, could result in loss of day. So I grew up like in a fishing village. That's what everyone is do. We fishing to make ends meet. Ain't really much carpenters and lawyers and doctors. Different class of people.
Some of our settlements seem quite literally built on conch. How much has been harvested over the centuries? Conching has long been a tradition passed down from generation to generation. But in today's world, can it still provide a stable living?
So I started fishing from back in the 70s as a young boy. I did that for so many years, started to gain back problems, because to break out 15 to 2,000 conch a day, you gotta bend, straighten up. You bend, you straighten up. You know, I was speeding like, you know, and you bending and you... So that after many years, it affected my spine. And I said to myself, okay, I gotta turn to another, you know, something else for bringing in incomes for me and my 6 kids.
I raised in a family actually off of fishing. I got 3 kids. We got 2 girls and a boy. I think they should put the price up on the conchs.
And where we just could get a matured conch, give the fishermen $3. The restaurants and hotels still selling it for $12 and $25 and $30. Rather than bringing in $1,200, we can bring in $300.
Where we could make a substantial amount of money, make a living, you don't gotta kill the conch them out. We could go get less conchs instead of how to get this big load to try and make $1 or $2.
We only would be getting matured conch because that's all what would be selling, and leave the small ones. We would have a place with billions of conch.
What would a regulated conch market even look like? And if a settlement must diversify, where do they turn?
So I started doing bone fishing, and then from bone fishing, I started doing lobster dives. So when people ain't interested in catching a bonefish, they can do some lobster fishing or some conch fishing. And I add it all into my tour. It can't get me rich unless one of my guests give me $1 million donation, but it made me successful as to pay my bills. You see, so come on, put your hand like this, shoot. Now sit there on the side of Jose and take a picture. Oh, you guys.
Jose.
That's right. Sit right in, watch your glasses. Yeah! Years went by and people didn't know the beauty that we had in our waters and our keys around the eastern end of Grand Baha Mar, which is Sweetens Key. And now that they're excited to see that the environment is clean, you see more. And I think we have a lot to offer, more than even in the city. Tourists, as they come into the Bahamas, they wanted to see some of the beaches and the waters and meet some of the local fishermen and be able to go out with them to see what it is like to fish in the Bahamas.
Extreme storms, market fluctuations, declining conch populations. What will it take for these settlements to survive? Will everyone just move to the city? Can we have tourism without a healthy fishery? Would people still come?
Tourism and the fishing industry, they have so much in common. They work together. They need each other.
Cities now collect most of the seafood, process it, and ship it abroad. They attract the majority of tourists and the majority of jobs.
Why y'all like living in Freeport? Or it's just sweet and ski?
I want to see and ski.
As more Bahamians leave the family islands, what do we lose when these communities decline? What happens if they disappear altogether?
The two little girls know how to dive and everything. They just was asking me the other day, Daddy, when you can catch spark with the conch and stuff like that. So I break the conch and chuck it. So the conch would just be loose in the shell and I let them play like they taking it out and be excited, you know. So they like it. They like the lifestyle. I wouldn't want to say I want them to grow up doing it, you know. But I wouldn't want them to grow up not knowing how to do it. You know what I mean?
The price of conch supports families. But if it becomes impossible, what happens to these generational skills? What happens to our seafood culture?
Over the years, I see that the conch has been depleting a little bit. They go deep there, like at deep water now.
The future's bleak. I might tell you it's bleak because the young kids today, I can tell you the truth, my kids included, and other guys my age, kids included.
The older guys like me, who was in it, we're getting ready to get out, but the younger guys, they're not picking up the slack.
They're not interested in fishing today, the cyber stuff.
This is an art that should be passed down generation to generation and should be kept going because it is a beautiful experience and it gives people a lot of joy being out there. I first got into fishing around the age of 12 through my mom, Pat. If I do keep a fish, it's probably one or two. Or if I do keep a good amount of fish, I'm distributing it. I'm not keeping it for myself. I'm giving it away because that's what these resources are for everyone. When I got into the industry, I learned a few things from Ebby. I got a lot of advice from a lot of the older guys. I implemented everything I learned from them, and that just helped me excel. The year I graduated high school, I didn't go to prom, I didn't go to graduation. I left, I came back home after a couple months of working and bought my first boat. Being out there, being surrounded by the birds, the sharks, all the fish, shallow water, clear water, you, your client, and everything that's around you. I loved it.
All right, just hold your rod tip up, hold it up, just like that.
I love being outside. You know, it makes me feel a lot closer to nature. This is definitely more of my element, being back here, fishing, looking for different stuff, cleaning the beaches. It's a lot of stuff I like to do. I train people to come back here to learn to run the boat. These fish use it for a nursery, and some of the locals do come back here too. It's how they make a living, it's how they feed their families. So all around, it's just a very versatile habitat for everyone involved. So you got a lot of older men who still got to work all their lives just to provide for their families. They got to sell to the restaurant. Same thing with the younger ones. It's already getting tougher and tougher with finding legal-sized crawfish. Same thing with legal-sized conch. So now we destroy a whole habitat. The fish are going to get harder to find. And if that's all gone, and then the restaurants hurt, and those people lose their businesses because they can't provide or they're running out of resources, then who's left to benefit from everything? There are things that my kids will never get to see because people just didn't care enough about the country. I hate that. And every Bahamian should.
What is the future of this industry? What happens if our fisheries totally collapse? What would the Bahamas be like?
What would our country be without fish?
I can't imagine that. I think we would be.
That's a tough question. What the country would be without fish? I can't imagine that.
Do we think about what it takes to put seafood on the menu?
I got to tell you, snapper is, particularly now, the quality of fish that we're getting now, snapper is actually becoming the premier seafood.
But most of the American people come here, they want the head off. They just take the head off. So I like fish looking at me. To take the head off. Yeah. But the head is the best part.
Yeah. You know, depends, but you know. I like some boiled fish. I can take my grouper over snapper any day, but a good snapper cooked properly, dry fried, that's a good meal. But some boiled fish, give me some grouper, maybe a horn fish. Yeah.
Would you know the difference if someone cooked fish, boiled fish with snapper, or hog fish versus grouper?
Yeah, the hog fish and grouper a little closer, but yeah, I could tell the difference.
Hog snapper is like eating barracuda. Well, I mean, you could be lucky, or you could get catch. Snapper is the number one.
Snapper number one, grouper number two, hogfish number three. Some people like turbot. I too much to find a turbot. Jack, pelagic fish, and that sort of stuff. Historically, to be a fisherman was a necessity at one point, right? And now it's a viable job that you make money on. But it's a job that every single year, the cost of entry increases, the cost to maintain your fleet increases. That kind of investment, $400,000 in investment, is a big investment. None of my uncles are in the fishing business, so it was basically left to me. I have no children in the fishing business. We get disconnected from that fishing industry and the challenges it faces.
And years ago, the Bahamian people could support the Bahamas with fish.
Historically, you used to be able to supply the demand here and make money additionally.
Right now, we're paying like $300 for a bag of fish, sometime more. And then you got to pay the guy $40 or $50 to clean a bag of fish. Almost $400 tie into that one bag of fish. Comes. We always have comes.
With the changes in the law that's being advocated, increasing the size limit, I think yes. We just have to keep making sure that whatever we do with the management is driven by science on the ground.
The demand is just that huge here. And obviously there's Bahamians, but there's also tourists that come and they're like, we want conch fritters, we want crack conch, we want to try conch salad and scorched conch too.
They already banned grouper.
For the season.
For season. Richard, I agree, but you can't put conch in no season. A lot of people on these islands, that's their bread and butter. So if you take that from them, what are they supposed to do? So what you think?
I would advocate as a protected area manager that we gotta have a series of protected areas. Even with the grouper, get them to say, okay, you know what? We're not doing Nassau grouper, we're doing yellowfin grouper, we're doing black grouper, we're doing strawberry grouper. Right? No, strawberry grouper is a good fish. I know, that's my point. We're also getting to the point where the resources are getting stretched. We're getting hit from the poachers, north, south, east, and west.
Yeah. I think if we could keep the illegal fishermen out of the human waters, you won't have no problem. I think we'll always have seafood. Lobster, snapper, grouper, conch. We'll never have an issue getting any of them.
Things are changing. I mean, we're still in a better place than a lot of other countries in terms of a lot of our resources, but we are still seeing changes. We're also battling things beyond our control now. We're having more hurricanes, they're more intense, they're causing more damage underwater. We need to manage the resources well so that, you can continue to make a profit, people can continue eating them.
I think once we continue on the path of not over-regulation, but having some regulations to manage our fisheries. And as a fisherman, I'm not sure I should be saying a lot of these things, but I mean, it's the reality of it.
I can't imagine the Bahamas without a fishing industry.
Even if we kill everything, we'll go after the next thing. We should be going after the next thing because we want to, not because we have to.
Yeah.
So we have our big 4 or 5 species that we want to keep. We got to make sure they keep. So we got to make sure that all the partners around the table, the government, non-government, fishers, sellers, all come together to make sure that whatever rules are put in place will ensure that they exist for the next 100, 200 years. Because honestly, all the work we do in Nassau grouper, I don't even need some grouper. So I need to make sure the grouper stays around. Similarly with crawfish, I ain't say the biggest fan of crawfish, but we gotta have it. So we gotta find a way to make it work.
We need to keep the dialogue open. Yeah, I mean, it's natural that we're going to have differences of opinion.
Of course.
But it's just how we resolve those and move forward.
It is a stark reminder of how many outside forces can impact this business. So how do we balance all these pressures to ensure our fisheries endure? And how do we prepare for challenges we may not even see coming? We simply cannot afford to let our fishing industry collapse.
Without fish, our country would be very, very poor. I know we would survive.
We don't get dead.
But I don't know how well we would survive.
We still have natural beauty. We still have the sun, and sea.
Bahamians are a fish people. They love fish, snapper, grouper, barracuda, even though they shouldn't eat it because it's poisonous. Turbot, fish, just love fish.
I don't think the Bahamas would be without fish.
It's important that we all take part in the discussion, ask questions, and learn from each other. What is your favorite fish? Grouper, snapper, or maybe even jack? But is conch truly the best? So I leave you with this question. What do you think the future holds for our seafood nation?